Hello everyone, my name's Omnisy and welcome to the Shadows of Olympus Smite patch discussion. So this is just going to be a little bit of an overlook over what changed. The items and the gods mostly, not the skins or anything like that. That's sort of a different topic. We're just going to be talking about gameplay impacting stuff like that. So I noticed that a lot of people have done patch reviews on this already, pre-release even, and I thought about doing that initially, but I changed my mind because I wanted to do it after I had a little time to play around with it and just see. So let's go over the item changes first. Frostbound Hammer, it got its health reduced a little bit, not very much, just it's got a little bit less health. Hardware Amulet, magical protections reduced from 60 to 50. This is interesting because it, in my opinion, it was a really good item and it was necessary for supports and okay for like solo laners and stuff like that, but it wasn't really anything that anybody complained about. Mystical Mail got nerfed. Its health went from 300 to 220, an 80 health nerf, which is, it's a nerf. It makes it so that you can get killed a lot easier. But people were complaining about Mystical Mail, but that's not what they were complaining about. That's not the part of it that's broken. So anybody that was going to buy it before is still going to buy it. That really doesn't matter. Pestilence, its healing reduction is from 20% to 25%. Literally has no impact, does not matter. Sovereignty reduces physical protections. This is basically Heartward, but in the physical. Doing the same, they're just reducing the physical protections. Like I said, I think Sovereignty was really good. It was necessary in supports. It's still going to be necessary in supports. It was okay for solo laners, but they weren't buying it anyways, and they reduced the physical protections. What are they going for here? They are reducing how well people can tank. In specific, I believe Hywas was trying to nerf solo laners by removing a lot of health on all these items. And in a way, it worked. Sun Wukong is going to be much less good. Stuff like that, like just people that are tanky, they're going to be much less effective. Mages are going to be able to kill them easier. Hunters are going to be able to kill them easier. Stuff like that. The hidden problem with that, though, is because, well, Heartward Amulet and Sovereignty, those are support items. They're not solo lane items. Show of hands, who thought supports were OP after the Hog of Nerf? After weakening doesn't even reduce all healing for 2 seconds. I mean, who actually thinks that supports are too strong? No one. No one at a high level actually thought supports were too strong. And in fact, they're literally CC dispensers at this point. They're almost to the point where it's almost worth it to go to a double ADC, like a double ADC map, and like just have a tankier mid and a really tanky solo, and then like a quasi tanky jungle. And you'll have, I mean, you don't even have to have the tanky mid. You could just have a tanky jungle like Khepri or something like that, just something to that effect. Have a tanky solo like Bellona, regular mid laner, 2 hunters. It would work. I guarantee you, it would work if defensive items got any worse. And of course it might not be top tier because we've been doing the support meta for so long, but they're getting to that point to where if they do much more, it's going to be very irritating to do tanky gods because it's much less efficient. That being said, I'm glad that solo laners have a little bit less usefulness in the tanky area, because I'm hoping, and this might not happen, in fact it's probably not going to happen, but the possibility here, and maybe this is what they were going for, is that they'll see more mages. They've been trying to do that for a while, get some mages in the solo lane, get some assassins or something that's not tanky. But the problem with that is, with the meta that we're in right now, that's not the point. You're not supposed to have diversity there. You are supposed to have, here's our tank. This is where the tank goes. It, like, solo lanes has a sign on it that says insert tank here. That's just where it belongs because supports are less useful. They can't hog. Weakening is so much less useful. Blink is nerfed, which means you can't like Geb initiate very often. Stuff like that. It's very irritating, and overall I like the fact that they're trying to do it, but I feel like there's probably better ways to do that. Moving down to god changes. Athena, she got her cooldown increased at the beginning from, like, it's 20 seconds longer at the beginning, and then the cooldown gets a little bit lower. They're like, hey, let's lower her mobility early. Problem with that is, I don't think that was that much of an issue, even in high-level play. not so much of an issue. Let me rephrase that. It's not so much of an issue that 20 seconds is going to be game changing. She's still going to be S. She's going to be an S character, and that's not going to change it. Literally, to change that, they would have to make her ult like a 200-second cooldown, and then she would move down a few tiers, maybe. But as she is, she's just too good. It's not really going to impact the early game that much. For Bellona, that's just a fix. Yanis, he did change. Him and his allies can't enter portals when they're stunned, crippled, or rooted. What this means is you can CC him, and even if he's against the wall, you're going to be able to damage him until the CC comes out. It's going to be a little bit easier to burst him. He's not going to be able to... He's not quite as slippery. He's still very, very, very slippery because his portal is a cheat. It's a longer range than a jump. I mean, I guess it has the weakness that you can't use it unless you're by a wall, but it's ridiculous. It makes it a little bit easier. I think that was a good change. Reducing the phase slow from scaling to just 25% all ranks. I mean, it's all right. It doesn't make his allies any faster. They didn't change that. The slow, I think it's all right at 25%. I don't think the slow part of the threshold, I don't think that was too impactful. So I don't think that'll change Yanis at all. I think he's still going to be a very highly sought after god. The fact that he can be caught with stuns, cripples, or roots, that's fine. It's going to make him easier to burst, like I said before, but it's not going to change how often he's picked or anything like that. Khepri got his mana increased for his wave clear and for his damage reduction, all that stuff. Its mana's increased. Basically, later it costs more, which, to be honest, I don't think is going to change him that much. He's still going to be really good. I mean, his ult is still... it's basically right before it released, and you can actually go to... I forget which Smite Talk episode it is, but one of them, I said that in order for that ability, his ult, to be balanced, the revive is going to have to be like 20 to 25%, and not go above 40, ever. It can't go up to 50, ever, or it's just going to be broken mechanically. It has to be a low health. It has to be here. You can be revived and you can escape because I'm already gone. It can't be you can be revived and you can keep fighting because when I'm in the game, mistakes don't matter, kind of thing. And they ended up doing it. It took them how many weeks to do what I said they would have to do pre-release? But I mean, that was last patch. This is not going to change anything, really. You're not going to see him play any less or anything like that. And I don't really think it's going to impact games that much. It's a little bit more mana cost. Early, it doesn't even change. And it goes up 5 and then 10. Like, it's not going to change much. Don't worry about that. It's not going to... You're going to have to look at your mana a little bit harder when you're playing him at the beginning, but it's really not going to change anything. I've played with Khepri's, and I played as Khepri, and it just doesn't change anything. Don't worry about it. Rom's a fix. It's not really anything. Sylla, they reduced her mana cost, which, again, I don't really understand why they're doing it too much. Her mana cost is reduced for a crush, so that's her wave clear. That's great. But her wave clear is late. And she's more of a one-shot god always anyways. You can't even build her cooldown. It's not good. So, like, she's a one-shot god. And it just doesn't... I don't think it's going to change much. It might make it life easier for Syllas, for the most part. But how many Syllas do you see playing, really? Not that many. There's better mid laners. And just the one-shot, hope you hit ult with maybe setup. It's just, it's not optimal to run right now because there's just, you can cracken people inside of a cripple. I mean, you can hope you hit your ult and then hit your crush for a bunch of damage, or you could just cripple someone and then cracken them and have effectively the same result for a very easier target. It's quicker, it's like it's not forecasted very much. So it's not that much. Alright, so for Sun Wukong, reduce the starting health from 40 to 450. I mean, that's going to make him a little bit easier to kill in solo lane. That's actually decent. That's actually a decent change as far as how much impact it's going to have. He's going to be less useful early. It's basically, he's not going to be able to say, hey, I'm going to tank your poke and just clear the wave. For his cudgel, mana's increased. That's going to give him a little less impact in lane. Basically, he's going to have to leave more often. and they're going to want to use their abilities less, which is the same thing with Master's Will. The thing with Sun Wukong is he relied on all that HP from his items and from his starting HP, and I think he's still going to be good. He's still going to be good, but now that this change has happened, I think there's probably going to be better solo laners that the pros and high-level ranked players are going to move to, like Bellona. Because, I mean, what does Bellona have? She has a slow, she has a disarm, she has a cleaving auto attack in one form that is entire weak clear, she has a stun that gives you protections and power. What does Sun Wukong have? He has a slow, he has a self-heal, he has a stun / knockup. You get the point. She has more tools, and there's just gods that you can do in the solo lane that have more tools, are more useful in team fights. Sun Wukong being less of a bully, I mean, it's going to impact him. I don't know how much, because to be honest, I haven't seen that much of a change, although people are playing him less, so that's probably why. I don't think it's going to kill him, obviously, but I think you will see a little bit of a change. It's going to be a tiny bit more difficult to play him, and maybe you're just going to want to play other gods like Bellona, like I said. Zeus basically is a new ability. It takes longer for the shield to hit the ground. What this means is you can see it coming, you can get out of the way, instead of it just being, well, I'm taking this damage. This is good. It makes it so that his damage is less confirmable. It takes a little bit more skill, and it's just easier, or was easier to hit it. Basically, you couldn't dodge it. Now you can dodge it. You're gonna have to play a little bit more smart as a Zeus. This is going to have impact on potential jousts and conquest. Before, Zeus was just going to be ridiculous in conquest. He was going to destroy everything, by most people's opinion. Now, he's probably going to be basically alright, because his damage can be dodged. He's not going to destroy hunters as easily and stuff like that. We'll see. I don't think it's going to change him. Like, you're not going to see number differences, is what I'm going to say, because nothing really changed other than the fact that it's easier to dodge his stuff. So it's less irritating to fight against him. Like, when Loki, if he ults you can't Aegis it anymore, because they removed that for some reason. And so you're just like, well, I'm taking this damage, and I'm probably taking the auto attack after to proc his 3 and his 1. You're just taking it. You can't, I mean, you could beads out of it, but aside from using a long cooldown of beads, you're just taking the damage. With this, it's no longer that aspect, and I like that. And actually, that's all the changes as far as gods and items. There's also skins and stuff like that. If you guys want, I could probably do stuff like that, but I don't think that's what most people are into. We're into more of the analytical, what's actually going to impact in the real game of Smite. So, thank you guys so much for watching. This video is going to be a little bit late coming up today. I apologize for that. This took a little bit longer to get up because I was just a little bit out of it. The time I was supposed to record, so I had to do it a little bit later. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see all of you in the next episode. See ya.